Support for Ukraine and the defense of the North Atlantic Alliance are the main topics of the meeting of defense chiefs of NATO member states.
Every day, we are in awe of our Ukrainian brothers and sisters in uniform. They are fighting a war on an unprecedented scale, in uncharted doctrinal territory. History books will show Ukraine has transformed modern warfare, and they are moving forward every day. Every success is one step closer to victory.
Moscow is losing territories occupied by the Russian army, and at the same time it is suffering damage due to economic sanctions, the head of the NATO military committee is sure.
Meanwhile, the Russian armed forces keep losing more and more ground, and the whole of Russia is suffering under the impact of economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation. Russia is forced to cooperate with unreliable actors, growing ever more dependent. And yet, the Russian leadership still believes that it will outlast the collective resolve of the Ukrainian people and all those who stand with them.
Bauer did not say who exactly he considers such an unreliable partner, but his statement came 3 days after the meeting of Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Their negotiations behind closed doors lasted more than 5 hours. Details of the agreements reached have not been disclosed. Washington assumes that the DPRK will supply Russia with significant amounts of ammunition in exchange for access to advanced weapons and technology.
Meeting in Russia between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin will probably lead North Korea to provide Soviet-era 152mm artillery rounds to Moscow. But it was not yet clear how many or how soon. Would it have a huge difference? I'm skeptical of that. Mark Milley, chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff, at a meeting of the leaders of the NATO Military Committee.
North Korea has not used Soviet weapons since the Korean War. This means that the country definitely has a large amount of ammunition. According to American intelligence data cited by CNN, we are talking about tens of millions of artillery shells and missiles. The transfer of weapons from North Korea to Russia would be a violation of a number of UN Security Council resolutions, the US State Department emphasized.
We, of course, have aggressively enforced our sanctions against entities that fund Russia's war effort, and we will continue to enforce those sanctions and will not hesitate to impose new sanctions if appropriate.
The United States is discussing the issue of supplying additional weapons to Ukraine. According to chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley, Kyiv continues to have broad bipartisan support in Congress. Earlier, US President Joe Biden requested more than $13 billion from the American Parliament for additional military assistance to Ukraine. Reported by Serhiy Kulias, Kristina Dombrovska, UATV News.